The woman who called herself your best friend is about to become your biggest enemy. This is a very important message for you today. Do not ignore it. She smiled with you, laughed with you, held your hand in public, and told others she'd die before betraying you. She clapped when you rose. She cried with you when you were weak. But heaven saw what you couldn't. Heaven saw how her words turned sharp in secret places, how her envy grew in rooms where your name was mentioned. Heaven heard what you didn't, the late-night conversations, the screenshots, the quiet gossip dressed up as concern. And today, Archangel Michael stands not in wrath, but in truth. Because the God who watches all has written it clearly in the sky, the woman you once trusted with your wounds is rehearsing a betrayal you never expected. And not because you're weak, but because your light exposes her shadows. This isn't just about friendship. It's about assignment. About timing. About divine positioning. You were always going to rise higher. You were always meant to step into something sacred. But she wasn't going to come with you. She wanted access, not alliance. She loved the benefits, but not the burden. She pretended to understand you, but deep down, your growth made her small. And now, her actions will reveal what her silence once tried to hide. But don't panic. Because this exposure is not to destroy you, it's to prepare you. Heaven is not punishing you. It's protecting what you're about to carry. Archangel Michael has been sent to stand at the door, to make sure that no fake love crosses the threshold of your new season. She thought you'd never find out. She thought masks could stay on forever. But God is removing every layer now. Slowly. Gently. Righteously. So that when you rise, you will rise with peace. Without guilt. Without confusion. Without divided loyalty. This moment is sacred. Your eyes are being opened, not by suspicion, but by divine confirmation. What she whispered about you is being echoed back to heaven. And heaven is answering with silence, with distance, with revelation. Don't chase her. Don't question why. Just watch what unfolds. You don't need to expose her. God already is. This is not the end of your softness, this is the beginning of your discernment. You're still chosen. You're still covered. And the one who tried to sabotage your blessing is about to watch God do something unstoppable in your life, without her hand anywhere near it. Trust the silence. Trust the separation. Trust Archangel Michael. He's been guarding you while you sleep. He's been preparing the moment you finally let go of what was hurting you while pretending to love you. And now, it begins. She sat across the table from you, smiling as if nothing had shifted. Her words were soft. Her eyes still carried the same familiar warmth. But heaven saw her hands under the table, crossed in secret agreement with people who never wanted to see you rise. You shared your dreams with her, not knowing she forwarded them to those who laughed at them. You wept on her shoulder, not knowing she repeated your pain to strangers for attention. But Archangel Michael never sleeps. He watched the contradiction between what she showed and what she truly sowed. You were chosen, beloved. That's why this betrayal feels deeper than others. Because when you carry divine oil, not everyone who claps for you is pure. Some celebrate you only because they believe you won't outgrow them. The moment your light expands beyond their shadow, their support turns into strategy. She didn't hate you, at first. She simply underestimated what God was doing in your life. She thought you'd stay small. She thought your prayers were just words. But then heaven started moving in your favor. And suddenly, her loyalty turned quiet, her compliments became hollow, her spirit changed, and you felt it, didn't you? You weren't wrong. You weren't paranoid. It was spiritual. That feeling in your chest. That hesitation when you texted her. That silence on the phone when you shared good news. That sudden coldness when others praised you in her presence. God was speaking. Not through lightning or fire, but through discernment. Through discomfort. Through divine unease. And you, my child, are finally listening. There are seasons where exposure is mercy. And this is one of them. Not to break your heart, but to make room in it. Not to strip you of friendship, but to redefine what friendship actually means. You were loyal. You were honest. You gave her your laughter, your secrets, your prayers. But she gave your name to confusion. She gave your joy to gossip. And she gave your trust to someone who didn't deserve to hold it. But heaven has counted every tear. Archangel Michael has written your pain into the scrolls of justice. And no betrayal ever goes unseen. And hear this, deeply, you don't have to harden your heart. You don't have to fight dirty. You don't even have to confront her. Because what's coming for you next is so drenched in peace and promotion that even the betrayal will begin to make sense. It had to happen. Her departure is the door to your protection. She was too familiar with your greatness to respect it. She got too close to your favor without understanding it was holy. And so God said, enough. Let her go without bitterness. Let her name rest in God's hands. Let her choices echo their own truth. Because what's ahead for you, beloved, is so pure, so divinely orchestrated, that only clean hearts can sit at your next table. You will have new laughter, genuine and sacred. You will find new love, protective and true. You will attract friends who don't compete with you, but pray with you. And when you look back on this chapter, you will smile. Not because of what she did, but because of what God built after she left. You always wondered why your wins felt so quiet in her presence. Why your blessings seemed to annoy her instead of inspire her. Why your laughter started feeling like noise to someone who once called you family. It wasn't in your mind. It was in the shift of her spirit, the tightening of her smile, the way her energy withdrew when favor started to follow you. And heaven noticed. You didn't change, you just began to heal. You began to step into who you really are. You stopped shrinking. You stopped explaining. You started glowing. And for someone who was secretly counting on your weakness to keep them strong, that was terrifying. God is revealing something important now, not because you asked for it, but because your soul is ready to carry truth. Her intentions were never fully clean. She celebrated your storms more than your sunshine. She was most comfortable when you were confused. And she clapped loudest when you doubted yourself. Because in your doubt, she had influence. In your pain, she had access. But now that you are slowly rising, now that you're being restored piece by piece, now that your heart is learning to breathe without begging, she is losing the grip she never admitted she had. And it's not because you did anything wrong. It's because God is shifting the table, and she never thought you'd be the one sitting at the head of it. But don't carry anger in your hands. Carry discernment. Don't curse her name. Bless your lesson. Because the same God who revealed her shadow will now guard your path with light. This heartbreak isn't punishment, it's positioning. This ending isn't a loss, it's an invitation. Heaven is making room. Room for people who truly pray when you weep. Room for connections that don't compete but protect. Room for friendships that feel like healing and not obligation. You deserve that. And you will have it. She didn't just lie to you. She lied about you. She sat in rooms where your name was slandered and said nothing. She knew things meant to harm your spirit and never told you. But grace is still bigger than gossip. And your anointing is still stronger than every lie. That's why you're still standing. That's why you're still chosen. That's why Archangel Michael whispered your name before the throne and said, "Father, preserve the one they tried to destroy in silence." So walk forward, not with bitterness, but with boldness. Know that heaven is not finished. This betrayal may have broken your routine, but it did not break your destiny. You will rise from this. You will love again. You will trust again. And the next time you give someone your friendship, it will be sacred, not strategic. This pain won't define you. But it will purify you. And the moment you release her, fully, completely, spiritually, you will feel your wings unfolding again. You didn't ask for the silence. You didn't beg for the distance. But it came anyway, slowly, like smoke before fire. She didn't walk away loudly. She drifted like someone rehearsing her exit long before you even sensed the change. But God saw it all. He saw the words she swallowed, the blessings she envied, the moments where she smiled at your face but prayed secretly that your joy wouldn't last. And now, heaven is no longer hiding what hell has whispered. Your spirit was never wrong for feeling that discomfort. That tension. That weight in her presence. Because some people only love you when you're beneath them, and she couldn't handle the elevation God placed upon your shoulders. You tried to convince yourself that you were being dramatic. That maybe you misunderstood. That maybe loyalty should be stronger than instinct. But the truth is, loyalty without discernment becomes your own downfall. And God is rescuing you from that now. He's not letting you stay blind to betrayal disguised as love. Because your heart deserves to be surrounded by peace, not pretense. And though it hurts to admit it, she was a storm dressed as shelter. You kept her close out of history, but God is removing her out of destiny. And when God makes a separation, don't beg for reunion. Don't chase what heaven is rejecting. Don't water what heaven is cutting from the root. Your tears have spoken louder than your lips. The heartbreak you carry isn't just from her actions, it's from the realization that she was never who she claimed to be. That her friendship had expiration hidden in admiration. But God, oh, God is a just Father. And He doesn't just expose, He restores. Every piece of your heart that feels bruised by her silence, every moment you doubted yourself because of her coldness, every blessing she tried to curse, He is turning it around. Because God never allows subtraction without preparing multiplication. You thought she was part of your forever, but she was only assigned to a chapter. A lesson. A reminder. And now, the page is turning. This season, God is bringing people who won't shrink your light but will shine with you. Souls who speak your name in prayer, not in plots. Friends who don't compete but complete the vision He gave you. You are entering a space where trust will no longer feel like risk. And joy will no longer require performance. You deserve that. And it's coming. The enemy tried to use her to break you, but heaven is using her exit to build you. To strengthen your voice. To sharpen your discernment. To protect your peace. This time, you won't ignore the signs. This time, you won't shrink to fit someone else's comfort zone. This time, you will choose your healing over history. And as you walk forward, let this be your anthem: I will no longer apologize for becoming who God created me to be, even if it means losing those who were never meant to stay. She knew your dreams before they bloomed. She knew your prayers before they manifested. She knew your weaknesses before you ever confessed them aloud. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Because betrayal from a stranger is survivable, but betrayal from someone who once wiped your tears and whispered, "I got you," feels like being shattered in the places no one can see. God watched as you laughed together, and He also watched when her smile turned into silence, when her joy for you faded into jealousy. She was the one person you never thought would twist the knife, but she did, quietly, deliberately, while still pretending to hold your hand. But don't cry, my child. Not because it didn't hurt, but because heaven has already declared, your spirit is graduating from imitation friendship to divine alignment. You kept asking yourself, what did I do wrong? You wondered if maybe you were too much, too kind, too trusting, too available, too real. But God is lifting that burden off your chest tonight. Because the problem was never your heart, the problem was that your light exposed what she was trying to keep hidden. She didn't hate you because you wronged her. She resented you because your favor revealed her frustration. And no matter how you tried to shrink yourself to make her feel safe, she still saw you as a threat. But here's the good news: when God removes someone, He replaces them with purpose. When God closes a door, He opens an entire palace. And when He exposes hidden hearts, He also upgrades your discernment, so you'll never be deceived the same way again. This is your permission to let go without guilt. This is your holy clearance to move forward without looking back. You don't need an apology from her to find closure, because God is giving you understanding in its place. She wasn't just losing you. She was losing access to the favor attached to your life. The covering that followed you. The grace that healed rooms when you entered. And now that you're walking away, she's realizing it wasn't her energy that made things glow, it was yours. Your loyalty. Your prayers. Your authenticity. But now, your steps are being ordered toward a circle that doesn't just clap for you publicly but prays for you privately. People who won't be intimidated by your glow but will amplify it with theirs. You will finally breathe in rooms where your soul isn't suffocating. God is saying to you now, well done for enduring the pain. Well done for loving even when it wasn't returned. Well done for not becoming bitter. Because I am taking every wound she caused and turning it into wisdom. I am taking every lonely night and turning it into legacy. You didn't lose her. She lost someone I personally protected. Someone I deeply love. Someone I'm about to elevate beyond what she ever imagined. So tonight, I want you to forgive her, not because she deserves it, but because your future requires it. Release her name from your lips, release her memory from your chest, and release yourself into the destiny that no longer includes her shadow. She played her part. Now your stage is being reset for something holy. And when the curtains rise again, the people around you will not be pretending, they'll be praying. They'll be celebrating. They'll be chosen by God, not just tolerated by your history. You've cried enough. Now watch what happens when heaven rewrites your circle. There is a sacred silence after betrayal, the kind that doesn't scream, but aches, quietly. A silence where your mind replays the moments, trying to pinpoint the shift. Was it that day you shared good news and she forced a smile? Was it when your victories felt heavier than your pain in her presence? Or was it when you started healing and no longer needed her validation? The truth is, her heart changed before her words did. But God saw it long before you did. You see, while you were covering her in prayer, she was covering you in comparison. While you were giving her access to your soul, she was taking notes for later destruction. But nothing is hidden from the one who anointed you. And even now, heaven is whispering, thank you for not lowering your spirit just to match her shadow. This season isn't just about exposure, it's about exchange. God is taking the pain she planted and trading it for prophetic clarity. He's not only removing her presence, he's removing the residue. That heaviness you've been feeling every time you tried to move forward? That lingering confusion, that emotional fog? That wasn't yours to carry, it was spiritual weight from someone who attached herself to your elevation, not your healing. She wanted your glow, but not your growth. She admired your strength but envied your anointing. And now, God is saying, enough. My child has suffered silently. It's time for the silence to speak. And oh, the silence will speak loudly. Not with arguments. Not with confrontations. But with transformation. Your peace will confuse her. Your elevation will shake her. Because nothing disturbs the enemy more than the person they tried to break walking freely into joy. That's what's happening now, you're being reborn into joy that no betrayal can touch. Into strength that doesn't need revenge. Into wholeness that doesn't need answers. You're not even angry anymore. You've outgrown the space where her presence mattered. What once broke you now builds you. And what once wounded you is now worship in the hands of God. You must know this, the battle wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. That's why it felt so deep. That's why it felt like mourning. Because her betrayal wasn't just disloyalty, it was an attack on your purpose. But heaven didn't allow her to destroy you. Heaven used her to sharpen you. Every false word spoken about you only lifted your name higher in the spiritual realm. And now God says, I am preparing a table, and the chairs are being arranged. But only those who carry honor will sit beside you this time. So wipe your tears tonight, not because everything is perfect, but because everything that tried to crush you has now become the confirmation that you are chosen. You are protected. You are transitioning. The woman who betrayed you will watch the very version of you she thought she buried rise from the ashes in full bloom. And this time, your laughter will not echo in rooms of jealousy, but in gardens of divine connection. The sun is returning. The weight is lifting. And the next time someone calls themselves your best friend, they will have been sent by God, not just filtered through memory.